Iconography in the Coptic Church has always been a huge tradition to be able to express what we believe, specifically in light of the incarnation, that because God became man, then God can be depicted in visible form. And obviously, if you go to some of the more ancient monastic communities in Egypt, especially if you go to like Wadi Natrun or the desert of Skitis, as it was known among the early desert fathers, a lot of those very ancient monasteries have incredible iconographic depictions. But we didn't have the same fight that a lot of people in the Eastern Orthodox did with iconoclasm. We didn't have that because we were already just trying to survive under, the invasion of Islam. So while they were going through their iconoclastic fights and battles and trying to defend iconography, we didn't necessarily have that kind of same problem as they did. So they formulated an entire theology surrounding iconography, and it turned into the victory of orthodoxy, and specifically like all that conversation. We never necessarily had that same need as them. So our tradition was never as solidly founded as theirs because they had reason to make it that solid because it was attacked. In our case, the faith itself was under attack, right? It wasn't just iconography. We were just trying to make sure that Christianity continued to exist in Egypt. So it was a very different kind of battle. And that's why you walk into churches in Egypt, and some of the traditions look like they're a little bit more influenced by Asian influence. Others are very Greek. Some of them are very Coptic under Dr. Isaac Fanous, who, reformed Coptic iconography in the 1960s and 70s and 80s. And so like you'll notice that there's change. You'll even see some Coptic churches who they've embraced Western art, and it's still an icon. To an Eastern Orthodox person, they might walk into my local church, St. George and St. Anthony's, and we have Western art. Okay, so it's the very European kind of artistic, like Michelangelo kind of art. And they're still consecrated icons. And the person might walk in there and say, this is not traditional. Well, it's not traditional for you. And you're speaking about a very specific expression of artistic form, but it's still very much an icon, because when people stand in the front of it, that icon is a window into heaven. And that icon's intention is to be able to allow you to connect with the saint or the Holy Theotokos or the Lord Christ himself, who is depicted in that icon. And so it serves its purpose as an icon. Now, what I really love about Coptic iconography is that there's a revival that's happening right now, and it's really beautiful. We have so many young people now who are invested in studying theology properly in order to be able to do iconography properly. You see a variety of different expressions of Coptic iconography resurfacing. It's really, really encouraging, and it's really beautiful. So I think 20 years from now, you're going to see really traditional Coptic iconography really fill a lot of homes and spaces and churches. So it's really beautiful to see that. But we didn't have to go through an iconoclastic battle the same way that the Eastern Church did. So I don't know if that answers the question of the person who asked it, but
you actually did without me reading the full question, because in his question he contrasts it with the robust defense that the Byzantine Orthodox Church has. So yeah, you actually hit it right on the head.